Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Steven Universe episode review. This one's going to be for Season 4, Episode 18, Rocknaldo. And yeah, this was a kind of pointless episode of Steven Universe. There really isn't a lot to this one. I don't think there's really any notable scenes. I think it's one of the most fillery episodes of this show that we've kind of ever had, in that even what they usually do with a lot of these episodes that aren't plot focused is that they have a kind of nice emotional core to them and they kind of deal with an interesting issue. This time out, it felt so manufactured that this isn't something realistically that would have happened. They just did something for the sake of an episode. This feels so much like an episode for the sake of an episode. Which to me is kind of almost the definition of a filler, where you are literally just making an episode to fill in one of the kind of episode count that you have, which in this case is 26. This just feels like, oh, we have to do 26 episodes. Let's make one of them this random thing with Ronaldo. The core, the basic thing, gist of this episode is Ronaldo kind of goes a little bit overboard. We're warning people about rock people and kind of insults Steven. Steven kind of maybe goes a little overboard in terms of kind of saying that it was insulting. Ronaldo then goes overboard with kind of apologizing by becoming a crystal gem. And it just comes down to the fact that for some reason, once he joins the crystal gems, he just starts acting mean. And then Steven has to give, the first time, I think, a kind of maybe overly mean lecture, but then come back and kind of give a more emotional speech. And I just don't feel there was anything that was gained from this, and that I don't think Ronaldo is a particularly important character. As much as he's had one or two episodes kind of to himself, I don't really feel that this one added kind of anything to his character. In fact, it actually brought up a lot of kind of weird things that are still there within the show with regards to, does everyone in Beach City just know that the gems are gems and that they're different, but that they don't care? Or are they just kind of vague enough with how they kind of say, if anyone asks them, they say that they're a gem, but for the most part, most people don't say anything. It was kind of weird here that Ronaldo seemed to just have this kind of epiphany when Steven just revealed that yeah, I have these powers and stuff like that. Even though I've been using them in front of everyone for ages, no one seems to have put it together until now. So that's been a weird thing since basically the first episode of this show. That it's just been very vague about are we meant to assume that some people know but are just okay with it, or that they're actually in secret? We really, really don't know. I think the marketing for this episode also kind of highlighted some of the issues, in that they set this episode up on their social media as if there's going to be a new gem introduced within this episode. Tune in and check out the new episode of Steven Universe. There's going to be a new gem. And they showed a picture of it and it was like, oh cool, it's like a bloodstone or something like that. And then all that amounted to was that Ronaldo's crystal gem nickname was Bloodstone. We didn't see anything about it. So they literally made a picture of a kind of bloodstone within the show's art style, purely to hype up an episode which I feel they knew that there wasn't really anything there within the episode about. That there was nothing else they could have really hyped the episode with, because a new gem is kind of the only way to kind of get hype for an episode like this. I really don't think there's a lot else to say. I didn't really get a lot out of kind of Steven's speech this time out. Usually they're okay, the speeches that he gives, and there's an emotional core to them, as I said before, that there's something behind it. But it was just you're being mean. We are about caring and understanding, and just kind of trying to point out that Ronaldo was kind of manipulating Steven a little bit before, but I think we've had too many episodes like this, where characters have come in, they've kind of frustrated Steven, who's tried to be tolerant of them, and then he kind of speaks his mind, and it kind of changes them a bit. Where's the plot? This is episode 18. As of now, there are 8 episodes left in this season, unless they decide to do another double-length episode, which could lower the amount of episode, but not necessarily lower the amount of animation. So, realistically, we've got 8 11-minute segments of Steven Universe left. Whether they combine a couple of those together, we're not really sure, but I think they have to commit to doing something soonish. Like, we know the next episode is Tiger Philanthropist, which is just a kind of continuation of that idea. That's like Steven's wrestling persona. The description is just like reads like this is the first time he's doing this, whereas like the description almost makes it seem like the original episode never actually Tiger Millionaire, I think that was, never actually was a thing. So unless this is meant to be like he brings that back and like runs a business himself, I think next episode is going to be fun. More fun than this episode was, and it's going to be entertaining. But I still don't think there's going to be anything particularly like notable about it. I think the wrestling references potentially are going to be fun and cool, but beyond that, I'm not really expecting all that much. But then that leaves 7 episodes left after next week, and I just hope they commit to doing something. Obviously, we're waiting for the Diamonds to come back. I think this is the season where they kind of have to commit to somewhere within the final group of episodes telling us what is up with Rose with regards to like the stuff that she did in the past. Was it actually bad? Did she do stuff that was wrong? Did she make mistakes? Or is that just the fact that Steven is finding out these things from someone else's perspective? Or what? There's still a lot of confusion about that. We need to get resolution on that. The Diamonds, as I said, coming is going to be, I think, the main plot that gets things going, and I think that would leave the series in a position going forward, if indeed the Diamonds being on Earth is meant to be like the big changer thing, where like basically with the Diamonds on Earth you can't really have Rocknaldo type episodes anymore because you constantly have to deal with the fact that there's danger around. So the sooner that happens for me, the better. And then just things like, I would hope that like Peridot and Peridot and Lapis, I hope that both of them maybe join up more permanently, for at least for the last couple of episodes, with the main group, just so we kind of have all our main characters there, and that they're not just using those as like a duo to add some fun into an episode every so often. So yeah, nothing I think just like inherently like bad about this episode. There's just nothing of note. This is one of the most forgettable, I think, episodes in the entire run of Steven Universe. And that's like including like some of the early season 1 stuff, and the fact that there is overall like a good portion of episodes of this show that aren't particularly notable. This is, I think, ranked very, very low on those lists. So yeah, in the comments let me know what your thoughts were on the episode. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.